Hey, what's going on everybody? Well, we're back for another video today. And in today's video, what we're gonna be focused on is this 65-gallon riverbank tank that you saw me scape in one of my last videos. Well, we have a couple more things that we need to do to this tank today. Number one is we really need to plant it, right? I mean, the land mass has a plant in it. There's some greenery around there. However, down in the actual riverbed, we're gonna need some plants and some hides and things like that for the fish that are gonna be going in here. Second thing is we really need to stock this thing with fish. I listened to a lot of your recommendations and I went ahead and went out and got some fish. Now, I may add one more type of fish to this tank eventually, but for today we're gonna be adding two types of fish. I didn't want to overdo it with the bio load in this tank. Even though the tank is fully cycled, I've tested the water, I've made sure that the cycle is actually going and everything is good there. So what we're gonna do today is, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and plant this tank as well as stock this with some fish. So let's go ahead and get into that today. So let's head over to one of my favorite stores in the Dallas area, Aqua Studios, and go ahead and pick up these fish that I've had ordered for me. All right guys, well, we are back from Aqua Studios. We've got our fish and we went ahead and picked up some plants as well. So what we're gonna start with on this tank today is we're actually gonna go ahead and plant this riverbed. So let's start with a little unboxing of what we got from a plant's perspective. Well, this first plant that we're putting in here is actually an Amazon sword. And Amazon swords are a great plant for beginners who are trying to plant a tank. These things are very hardy. They don't need a lot of crazy aquarium lights. They don't need CO2s, fertilizers, things of that nature. Just a simple, great plant for your tank. You can float them, you can plant them. They don't really require a whole lot of care. Now, I will tell you, in the right conditions, a regular Amazon sword can grow over 20 inches in height if the right lighting and the right nutrients are provided. In fact, I have a couple of Amazon swords in the bottom of the paludarium that have been in a black water with no light for, well, actually going on a year now, and they are still growing perfect. Now, under low light conditions, they're going to grow a lot slower than they are with the proper light, so keep that in mind. However, they're actually pretty inexpensive when you can find them at your local pet store. Let's just float these in here, but we're going to start with a few Amazon swords that look fantastic, nice and green. We'll bury those in just a minute. Looking at our next plant, this is called a Kleiner bar sword. And a Kleiner bar sword is actually a hybrid sword between two different swords, and that is why when adult leaves mature, they actually turn this very deep red color, which you see in this plant that we're planting today. But another great sword. Once again, you can float this, you can plant this, not a whole lot of crazy light requirements and things of that nature. However, this one does require just a little bit more light than the regular Amazon sword. And the other thing is that this particular sword is actually semi-aquatic or fully aquatic. So you can either fully submerge it or it can partially grow out of water as well, which is a great thing. So what we're gonna start with is I'm gonna go ahead and plant this Kleiner bar sword probably like right here. And all I'm gonna do is just push this down into the substrate, cover it up, and that will stay put right there. I'm gonna add a couple of little rock elements. I'm gonna place some bigger rocks just right around the base of this. Nothing major, and then just sprinkle some little finer details around. I'm probably gonna add one of these smaller Amazon swords. Back down here in this corner, add this larger one right about here. I'm gonna add this behind and up under this bigger rock. We're gonna add this larger one right back here, kind of behind this larger rock and in the midst of all this gravel. And we'll just push that gravel back over it, and that guy will be good right there. I feel like one should go probably, I have one coming right out of this little crevice here. So I'm gonna take this one and just stuff this one right down in here like this. All right, so we have some plants in there. All right, now what I'm gonna do is just take my net and I'm gonna capture all of this plant debris that kind of came up with planting these plants. Get all of this skimmed out of this water as much as possible. The filter will do the rest. There's a little bit of black substrate in there from coming out of my plant tank, but overall, not too terribly bad. I think I got most of it there. All right, guys. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at this very first fish that we're going to be placing into this riverbank tank today. For this first fish that we're going to be placing into the tank today, this is a Coulee Loach. And the Coulee Loach is actually a really cool fish because it's kind of an eel-like shaped fish, super peaceful, great temperament, and it's actually a scavenger, so it'll keep the bottom of your tank clean. Now the Coulee Loach actually prefers live food, such as brine shrimp, bloodworms, things of that nature. However, they will eat flake food off the bottom. Now the Coulee Loach is also a nocturnal fish, so it's like the owl of the aquarium. You're not gonna see them a whole lot during the day. They're gonna come out at night and they're gonna scavenge for food across the bottom of the riverbed where they're native from, which makes this tank a perfect habitat for the Coulee Loach. You can kind of see him here. This little guy here, he's like looking for a place in the rocks. Now this fish, I understand, is just a basic fish, and I know a lot of you said, no, don't put these in here, but I really like the neon tetra and how they school together. So we have a whole bunch of these neon tetras that are in this tank now, and I do have room for one more type of fish, so I would like you to comment below some more ideas on some fish that will go with these Coulee Loaches and these neon tetras specifically, and we'll go ahead and put a school of those in here as well at a later time. I didn't want to overload the tank with too many fish. So what I've done is I've adjusted the flow on the filter to push water this way, which will loop it back around towards the filter, just in a circular motion within the tank. What that does is that gives this side a really high flow, and then the back side of the tank a lower flow, which gives them the ability to get into places and rest. Now, I will tell you, these fish are young and they will color up significantly as we begin to feed them and as they acclimate to their new environment. I do not believe that they will eat at this point, but we're gonna go ahead and try to feed them. I'm gonna feed them my favorite flake food, which is this API tropical flake food. Great food made by API. This is not a sponsored video, it's just a product that I like. And all the fish seem to like it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop some of this in here and just see if we can get any of them to come up and eat. And actually, as you see them down here, they are. They're doing pretty good. They're already eating, so that's a good thing. And the hope is that these Coulee Loaches keep the bottom of this tank semi-clean. All right, guys. Well, looking at this tank now that the fish are in here, they have fully acclimated and they are getting used to their new home. And as you can see, they've started to school up and they've actually started to color up a little bit as well. But they are looking fantastic. All right, now that we have all these fish in here, I mean, there's like a ton of neon tetras and a lot of these Coulee Loaches. So I'm gonna need you to go ahead and drop a comment and name every single one of them. I want you to name them all. There's tons of them. They're all, look, there's Sally and Mary and Bobby and Johnny and Fred. I mean, I want to name for, I'm just kidding. You don't have to name any of them if you don't want to. I mean, but if you want to, then you go right ahead, but you don't have to. But overall, I'm happy with what we've put in here so far. I do think that there's room for one more type of fish, and I'm going to look back through the comments and see kind of what we think we should do and what had the best results that can go with these neon tetras as well as the Coulee Loaches. Now granted, the Coulee Loaches are very much a peaceful temperament as well as the neon tetras, so there's a lot of options here. I was thinking maybe some dwarf gouramis or something of that nature. I don't know, but you guys go ahead and comment below again, and I know I asked you in the last video to comment fish types, but go ahead and do it again for me and let's pick one more type of fish that we can put in here. So overall, I'm really liking the scape. I'm really liking the fish. I am satisfied with this tank and hopefully you guys are too. But this has turned out to be a great tank and I'm truly grateful for you guys giving me your feedback and letting me know. So if you don't mind, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what type of fish. Hopefully you guys actually like the way this has turned out and hopefully you have enjoyed watching the video of scaping. And if you haven't, I'll go ahead and link a card above of the scape of this tank. But I'm really happy with the way this tank turned out. Like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed the video of us stocking this tank as well as of us scaping this tank. But I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so very much for taking your time to come watch this tank build and watch us put these fish into this tank. I am truly grateful for the support, guys. So thank you very much. If you have not subscribed, please do that now, as well as go ahead and like the video if you haven't done that. If you haven't followed me on Instagram or Facebook, you can find links to both of those socials in the description below. But once again, I am truly grateful for you guys. Thank you very, very much. And hey, we will see you next time.